This is a video that I really hoped at some point in the future I was going to be able to make, so I'm pretty happy right now. Rental servers are finally coming to Battlefield 5. It's official, they've been confirmed by DICE and EA, rental servers are coming. DICE was listening to our feedback at launch when we said, as a community, that we wanted rental servers to create our own experiences. And DICE previously had said it's something they wanted to talk about, and the time to now talk about it is finally here. I'm going to try and pack all of the details that we have right now into this video so you're fully up to date, and then at the end of the video I'll give you my overall opinion. Although I am pretty happy, so you can take that as it is. Work to implement these rental servers, or as the system will be known now, private games, is already underway, and we're likely going to see initial implementation of the system after the summer. It's a system that will be readily accessible to all Battlefield 5 players, and there are plans to offer a base level of private games for free to all players as well. This indicates that there will be some paid features, and since we don't have any further information on those right now, I'm going to assume that these will be tools for power users that go above and beyond what your standard Battlefield 5 player is going to need. So I can see maybe clans and organised teams maybe paying for extra access to features that the normal free set doesn't have. Private games will be a system that will grow over time according to DICE, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later on in the video, but in this first blog post that's been released, we've got details on what will be included in the first release of the system, so we've got some core details that you need to know first of all. Private games will give any player the opportunity to create their own Battlefield 5 server, directly from the in-game menus or via a new web browser service being created specifically for private games. The servers you create will remain online whilst there are people playing on the server, and once the server empties, the server will go offline. Server configurations will be saved locally, so if you want to start a server with exactly the same settings as you had running previously, then you'll be able to do that without messing around configuring it all over again. Multiple configurations can be saved, so you can activate multiple servers if you want to. The servers you create will be located at the closest ping site to you. So, as an example, if you live in Europe, most likely servers created through private games will be hosted in Frankfurt, Germany. The servers themselves will be hosted through DICE and EA's in-house system. They're not third-party servers like Battlefield 4 supported on the PC platform. Okay then, with that out of the way, what settings is DICE going to be shipping with private games' first release? I've got the full list here, and DICE is describing these as must-haves and administration tools that let you control your own server, so here we go. Within core functionality, you're going to have the ability to create private games from the main menu. You can set a custom name for the server, and you can set a description for the server. You'll have the ability to password protect your server if you want to. You can control what maps are used within the map rotation. You can control what game modes are available on your server. You'll be able to control the number of players needed to break the pre-round lock. You'll have the ability to kick players from the current game. You'll be able to control what classes are available, what weapons are allowed, if vehicles are allowed, and you'll be able to control if the kill cam will be displayed or not. You'll also have the ability to turn friendly fire on and off. You can turn regen health on or off if you want to. You can set soldier tags as visible or not. You can enable or disable third-person camera views on vehicles. You'll have the ability to enable squad leader only spawns if you want to. You can enable or disable aim assist auto rotation and aim assist cooldown if you want to. You'll be able to control bullet damage scaling, you'll be able to control the game mode ticket scaling, soldier and vehicle respawn timers, you'll be able to turn the minimap on or off, and you can enable or disable the compass. And then, within organisation options, you're going to be able to apply a preset configuration to the private game if you want to, so there'll be a couple of options like vanilla and infantry only. You'll have the ability to save your server settings as a custom preset, so you can reapply it at will. You can have your name highlighted in the chat if you're the owner of the server. You can have the ability to administrate and manage server settings in the main menu or via our private games web portal, so that's definitely confirmation of the web portal. You can have the description of your private game presented on the loading screen. You'll have the ability to manually switch players between different teams, so admins will be able to control team switching, which is pretty cool. And you'll have the option to report private games in the advanced search screen if you think somebody's breaking some rules. Now, as I mentioned, this is just the first implementation of private games, and further features like moderator lists, VIP lists, banned player lists, and even more will be added in another update once the core basis is implemented. And alongside all of this, DICE is launching something they're calling the Community Development Initiative, or CDI for short. Another lovely acronym for us to remember. Essentially, DICE wants to develop private games in direct conjunction with the community, implementing features the community wants, alongside core features that DICE feels will be relevant as well. This is going to start with a dev talk at EA Play, where DICE will update the community about development of private games and where they're at with things in general. Dev talks are also being renamed On the Battlefield from now on as well, so might be worth remembering that. So now that's all the details out of the way, it's time for my opinion, and first of all, I'd just like to say that I already knew that this private games rental server system was coming for Battlefield 5. I already knew about this, but I was bound by a non-disclosure agreement and I couldn't discuss anything with you. Now, I know that some people get annoyed or upset when game changers are told things at events that they're then not allowed to discuss publicly, but that's just part of what I have to deal with as a content creator and a member of the Battlefield community who's chosen to go to these events. I know some people don't like this. I don't particularly like holding back really cool information away from the community either, but it is just the nature of what I do. If the development team pitch something to me that they're not 100% sure they can actually implement yet, and then I go ahead and talk about it publicly, it makes it really difficult for the development team to then not do something that I've said that they might do. It just puts people in a really difficult position. So I wish I didn't have to not tell you things, but sometimes I just do have to not tell you things. But I'm glad that I finally get to talk about it, so that's a bonus. I first learned about private games at a feedback event and a recording event in March for Firestorm at the DICE studio in Stockholm. And this system, or most of it, some of it's changed, this system was pitched to us and about 30 other community members for us to give feedback on. And in general at the time, the response was really positive because DICE was clearly acting on community feedback and the desire for players to have the tools to create their own experiences. All of the features mentioned in this blog post were pitched to us. Apart from the new web browser portal system for managing the servers, that's a brand new feature, and I think that's one that should definitely be applauded. Battlefield 1's system, that exposed how managing a server within the game client just doesn't work properly, and it doesn't work for admins who really want to control their servers, so an external tool is really needed to control things in a more appropriate way, and I'm glad DICE has identified that and they're going to build something for us. And also, hearing at a base level that these private games will be provided for free to all players, that is brilliant as well. Another sticking point with rental servers in Battlefield 1 was their relatively high cost and unchanging cost if you decided to run modes with smaller player counts. So it's nice to see DICE extending a good offering here and letting all of the community play around with the tools and create new experiences. And as I said earlier in the video, I assume some of the paid features will benefit those bigger clans and bigger teams who just want deeper control of their servers and admin tools. So overall, I've got to hand it to DICE here. They've done a good job at taking on board community feedback and then acting on it. They're really doing something good here, because it's just obvious to me this wasn't going to be a thing without community feedback. The fact it won't initially deploy until after the summer is a little bit disappointing, considering how long other content for Battlefield 5 has already taken to arrive, but if it is still in development, and I believe it is, then you can't really complain. There's no sense rushing something like this. Back in March, when I first found out about private games, it was clear then that the system was only just starting to be worked on, and that's why I'm so confident that all of this has spawned from pure community feedback. If DICE had planned to add this after launch, they would have worked worked on it sooner, but clearly the community was the driving force that were driving home that rental servers was something that Battlefield 5 needed. But you should let me know what you think about all of this down below in the comments section. This new system paves the way for hardcore servers, so if you're a player who wanted those, let me know how you're feeling. Anything you want to say, drop it down below in the comments section. And also, I've linked the blog down below in the description, so if you want to go and read that, then you're more than welcome to. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.